picture yourself standing in front of the mirror, and for a moment, just a moment, you actually don't recognize the person who's looking back at you. The jawline perhaps isn't as sharp. The hairline seems to have shifted. The eyes seem a little more tired, a little more worn. And there are lines where there didn't used to be once. Scars, maybe, signs, signs of years that are lived and battles that have been fought and of roads that have been traveled. And you wonder, where did I go? Because the face that's staring back doesn't look like the one you remember from once, the one from years ago, the one, the one that felt invincible, the one that felt untouchable or permanent. But consider this: you didn't disappear. The mirror may have changed, yes, but you, like the real version of you, you're still here. The the world, you see, teaches us that we have to tether our identity to what we can see, right? And that could be like the smoothness of our skin, for example, or the sharpness of our jawline. It could be the symmetry of our features, maybe the youthfulness of our reflection. But the thing is, mirrors can lie. Or rather, they tell a partial truth. They show, they show you what time can touch, basically. But they can't show you what time cannot erase. And that is your kindness, your character, your courage, your soul. See, the mirror changes, but you do not. At least not in the ways that matter most. But let me just slow down a moment here, because the first time that you really notice it, like the first time you really see the difference, it can feel kind of jarring, right? It could be a photograph that catches you off guard, or a mirror at the wrong angle, or a candid reflection in a window. And it's at that moment that you're reminded that you're not 20 or a teenager anymore. You're not, you're not untouched by life anymore. You're, you're not unmarked. You're not this unmarked version of yourself that you once were. And, and it kind of stings, right? Not because age is a failure, but because we've been taught to believe that time is the enemy, right? That change is loss, and that lines are failures. And that aging is a form of disappearing. But what if aging isn't a form of disappearing? What if changing reflection is not a sign of fading, but of becoming, right? See, here's what I think the mirror cannot show you. The mirror can show you a few things. Yes, the mirror can show you your wrinkles. It can show you your scars. It can show you the way that you're changing, but change doesn't choose. Like signs of time, these are things you can't control. But the mirror can't show you the grace that you've learned to carry, for example, the wisdom that you've fought to earn through learning, the resilience that's been forged in the silence, the love that you've been given and that you've given as well. It can't show you the nights that you stayed up comforting someone who needed you, or it can't show you the battles that you've fought alone and won without much fanfare. It can't show you those moments that you chose kindness when it would have been easier to choose cruelty. See, the mirror shows you the surface, basically. But you're so much more, right? You're so much more than your surface. You're the unseen sum, if you will, of every moment that's built you. And the parts that matter the most, these don't fade. They actually deepen, right? But I want you to just stick with me just for a little longer, because in a few moments I want to unpack just how how to shift your identity from something that's fragile and changing to something that is unshakable and lasting, okay? And this shift will change, I think, how you see yourself, not just for today per se, but basically for the rest of your life, all right? But here's why mirror-based identity, in essence, fails us. Because when you anchor your identity in the mirror or to the mirror, you're basically setting yourself up for this lifetime of insecurity. Because the mirror is going to change. Skin will loosen, hair will thin, lines will deepen, strength will waver. And this is not a failure. This is just life, right? This is what life is like. It's proof that you've lived, and it's evidence that you've stayed. And it's kind of like your receipt, if you will, of your existence, okay? But if you believe that your value lives in the smoothness of your skin, for example, or the sharpness of your features, see, every change will start to feel like loss then. Every wrinkle will make you feel like a failure. Every scar will be seen like a flaw. And every shift you will account as a subtraction, if you will. You'll grieve what was instead of honoring what is. Because here's the uncomfortable truth I would pose. If your worth can fade with time, it was never real to begin with, okay? See, there's something that lasts beyond the mirror. And what is this that lasts beyond the reflection in the mirror? And what endures beyond that reflection? I think it's things like kindness and courage and one's integrity and one's compassion, one's resilience, if you will, one's capacity to love. You see, these are not things that the mirror can measure by any stretch of the means. They don't show up in the reflection that's looking back at you. They show up instead in how you live on a daily, consistent basis. They show up in how you love. They show up in the unseen places, the quiet victories, if you will, the hidden battles, the silent, faithful moments that you keep on being consistent. See, no mirror will ever capture the depth of your real beauty, because real beauty is not reflected. Real beauty is lived, it's experienced. So here's some practical shifts that I'd pose for your consideration. Number one, root your identity in character and not your appearance. This is how you shift. Root your identity in your character and not in your appearance. So ask yourself, for example, who am I becoming? And am I growing to be a kinder person dispositionally? Am I becoming more patient or more courageous? Am I becoming one who is applying wisdom? Am I living in a way that even if unseen, it still matters? See, character, it doesn't just wrinkle it or fade. Character deepens. Character gets more substantial. The more you nurture it, the richer it becomes. So anchor yourself there, and time will become your ally and not your enemy. Second practical shift. Measure your worth by your impact and not by your image. All right? This is a really important shift. So let me just say it again. Measure your worth by impact and not by your image. See, the mirror shows you your image, but the world will feel your impact. And so in this case, I'd be asking you, who are you helping? And who feels safer because you exist? Who's growing because you were growing for yourself? Who is healing because you chose to heal in yourself? See, your impact cannot be captured by a reflection, can it? It's not visible in glass. It's visible in your life and the way you live it. And lives, unlike reflections, lives actually last. But stay with me. We're getting deep here. And I appreciate you slogging this one with me, because in just a moment, I'm going to explore the final and the most powerful shift. And that's how to see yourself as something aging and not fading, but in the aging process you're becoming, because you're not disappearing. as you get older. You're becoming something robust and beautiful and substantial. And this is what I call the power of becoming. See, the mirror may change, yes. And your face may change. Your body, it'll change, yes. But what if instead of seeing that change as a loss in your life or in your experience, what if you saw it as someone who's becoming deeper, becoming wiser, becoming softer where you once felt hard, right? Becoming stronger where you once were feeling fragile, becoming more human and more real and more whole. See, the mirror cannot reflect becoming, but it can show you growth in a different way. The mirror can't capture what matters most. And that's how you're learning to stay through the hard moments, how you're learning to forgive when it really hurts, how you're learning to love in a deep, free, and meaningful way, how you're learning to be patient with yourself. The mirror can't capture the quiet dignity of your becoming. But becoming is really what makes you beautiful in the ways the mirror could never understand, right? But let me tell you a quick story. I once met a woman in her, I think she must have been in her 70s, and she carried herself with this kind of presence that made everyone around her feel lighter. Her face, if you looked through the lens of the world, it was lined, it was marked by time. But if you really looked, and then you would see something else. You'd see eyes that had seen loss and still chose to love. You'd see her hands that held grief and still chose tenderness. Her heart that had been broken and still chose openness. See, no mirror could ever reflect that kind of beauty. No photograph could capture it. No surface reflection could ever really explain that. But it wasn't surface level though. This was her soul that you were looking into. And the soul doesn't age. Like I said, it deepens. So here's what the mirror does not show. The mirror does not show the love that you've given when no one was watching. The mirror doesn't show the forgiveness that you extended when no one said, thank you. Or it doesn't show the courage that you've summoned when fear told you to just quit. The mirror doesn't show the kindness that you've chosen when cruelty would have been far easier. See, the mirror can't show the real you. The real you isn't captured in a reflection on glass. The real you is carved in how you live, in the quiet, everyday choices that shape your soul. And your soul, it doesn't disappear. Your soul grows, it deepens. It has a capacity to. It becomes, it evolves, it transforms. But here's that final practical shift I promised you, and that's redefine beauty as depth and not as surface, okay? Again, let me tell you this radical practical shift I want you to consider. Redefine beauty as depth and not surface. Surface level beauty, it fades over time. But depth in beauty lasts such a long time. Surface beauty may catch the eye, yes, but the beauty in depth catches the heart, right? Surface beauty is fragile, but beauty that goes deep is indestructible. And when you live this way, when you become this way, then you no longer will fear the mirror, and you no longer will dread the reflection, because now you know that you're not disappearing and you're not diminishing. You're not becoming anything less. Instead, you're becoming more, and no mirror can ever measure that. But let me extend an invitation for you to consider and be challenged by. Here's the invitation. When the mirror changes, and it will change, like you'll see yourself changing, remember this: You are not your reflection. You're not your surface. You're not what time can touch. Instead, you are something that's deeper. You are something that is stronger. You are something that is far more enduring, far more becoming. And becoming is such a beautiful change, such a beautiful transformation. You have not disappeared. You've not diminished. You've not been erased. You are here. You are real. You're becoming. And that, not what the mirror says, but that transformation is the truth. So the next time you catch your reflection in the mirror or in a window and you feel that sting of change, I want you to whisper to yourself this: I am not my reflection. I'm not disappearing. I am transforming. I'm becoming something beautiful, because the mirror may change, but you remain, and you are more beautiful now than, not despite the years, but because of the years. So let that rest deep in your soul. Now, if what I've been saying, you're tracking with it, it resonates deeply with you, I want to encourage you to check out a past episode I put out titled "You Were Never Too Much." They didn't know what to do with you. And this is an episode where we do a deep dive into reclaiming your worth and living rooted in something that's bigger than the world's opinion. So go look up that title and peruse that video. And if you're becoming ready for more conversations on this, in this deep level stuff, not just surviving change per se, but thriving through it, keep watching, because we're just getting started. There's a lot more that I'd love to grow together through with you. Thanks for watching.